So in this video, I'm going to go over the exact supplements brands Google ad strategy we are using, currently managing 4 supplements brands running Google and Facebook ads, but we're going to talk specifically the Google ad strategy we use. With this strategy, it is specific to nCAC. So often the optimization goal with supplements brands is to work to an nCAC target and to maximize new customer acquisition. And this is exactly what this strategy uses. Like I said, we currently are using this on 4 different supplements brands. So if you're a supplement brand, feel free to use this. I must say the strategy is one thing, but the execution is another. So it's still quite hard. So I'm giving you the easy thing here, really. I'm going to do a video on tactics as well, because that's where the real magic happens. But for this one, we're going to just cover the strategy we use and the campaign types we use. So let's break this down. So what we have is a full funnel approach. We use top of funnel here. That's what TOF, MOF, middle of funnel. What we have with our TOF, we have 2 campaigns. So in our demand generation campaign, we want to establish an omni-channel presence for brand awareness. We like to use demand generation because it's just very easy to use and it is highly effective, better in display in my opinion. The audience targeting is better. The reason we want to do this is because mainly we're going to be generating demand on Meta. Meta is unquestionably better at generating demand. You can also optimize for purchases on Meta. Demand generation isn't optimized for purchases. You're not really going to get many purchases from it. So it's a lot harder to comprehend how much you want to spend on it. So I always favor Meta for generating demand, Google for more capturing demand. But each user needs 7 touch points before they convert with you. So we want to make sure we're having an omni-channel presence. We're advertising on Google's ecosystem as well with demand generation. So we have demand generation campaign. What I recommend you to do here is to repurpose your Meta content. Just recycle exactly what you're doing from Meta onto Google. And a classic format of what you could use to start with is this. So top performing product 1, top performing product 2, you make these ads specific around those products. And then we have product group 1, for example, and then we have a brand introduction. You can use as many or as little as you want. The more the merrier, in my opinion. But yeah, that's typically what you could start in terms of your ads. So what these are here is they are ads. They're not ad groups. You don't really need to have differentiated ad groups so much because that's just to do with your targeting. So that's demand generation campaign there. Number 2 is our disco words campaign. And our disco words campaign, it basically stands for discovery words. Just a little play on it. Quite funny. And what we have here is ad groups of long tail keywords. So these are people who are in this stage of the decision making process. So every time your user goes through a purchase decision, they go through 5 stages. They start problem recognition, information search, alternative search, purchase decision, and post-purchase evaluation. What we can target with our upper funnel advertising campaigns is this: problem recognition. We can get that with demand generation, and then information search. Information search is where we're going to be hitting them a little bit more with our disco words. So when I say disco words, example of this is how to improve focus, supplements to enhance focus. These are long tail keywords. They're not specifically around your product, but they're just teetering just before it. They know there's something out there for them, but they're teetering just before that. And what we like to do here is to actually A/B test our final URLs with blog content, so blog pages talking about the problem you want to solve, and then A/B test that alongside your product page so you can get an idea which converts better. And because fundamentally here you're not really looking for conversions as much here, so your nCAC is going to be higher because your user is in this stage or in the information search stage. But as I said, your user needs 7 touch points to convert. So if you could be within each of those 7 touch points, you are more likely to be picked compared to your competitors because you have been with them in every touch point they need before they convert. And that improves your authority. And then moving down into our middle of funnel. So middle of funnel, we have 2 campaigns here. Well, 4 campaigns altogether, but 2 campaign types. This side is our PMAX campaigns, and this side is our standard shopping campaigns. And what we have these segmented into is basically they are copying each other. They are completely mirroring each other, just different campaign types. But what we see here is we have a higher demand, a lower demand split. This is what I've used for every single e-commerce client we have worked with. And I've been talking about higher demand, lower demand since I started my YouTube channel. So for quite a long time now. And we still use this to this day as a foundation, should I put. So where you start here may not be where you end, but typically the higher demand, lower demand split is based on the 80-20 rule of e-commerce. 20% of your products will generate 80% of your revenue. Higher demand has the 20% of products and lower demand has the 80% of products. Hence why we have more asset groups. Hence why we have less asset groups. And same again for our standard shopping, higher demand, lower demand. But one thing I want to preface here is What's slightly different with supplements brands is the way we segment our products. So typically within an e-commerce client where we weren't optimizing for new customers, I would segment it based on revenue/demand. It's quite nitpicky as to how you should best segment your products, because what you'll find is some products will just take all the spend but not turn a ROAS you want. So the key with Google Shopping is your product segmentation, and it is not easy to do and it takes a little while, but this is the great foundation strategy to start with. But what's specific with supplements brands, you want to segment your products based on the new customers they are generating, not the revenue. You want to base it on your new customers, because we as an agency, we are working to nCAC targets and we are working to increase new customer acquisition. So I want to make sure in a higher demand campaign here, I am putting the highest new customer generating products in there, and I want to put the rest basically in the lower demand. Sometimes we have 3 or 4 PMAX campaigns, and I don't think having more PMAX campaigns is actually a bad thing. Everyone says condense it down into fewer campaigns. I used to say the same. However, I've changed my mind. I think you can have more PMAX campaigns, but there's a very fine line between it, and it takes a lot of experience to find what is that fine line. But fundamentally, you want to make sure you are putting your high demand products, which are the products that generate more new customers, in here, and the less new customers in here. The way you find that out is by actually reviewing the data in your Shopify. So within Shopify reports, you can see exactly the products that are generating your new customers. And that's what we use for all our UTM campaign tracking anyway. We take our Shopify data, we put it into a Google Sheet, and from this we can actually identify the products that are generating our new customers, but then also your size variance. And don't forget that with supplements brands, we have size variance, we have quantities, 90, 120, 240, 100 grams. And what you want to do is not just identify the products that generate the new customers, but the size variance, because they are going to be individual SKUs, individual item IDs in your Google Merchant Center. So you want to make sure those item IDs are selected specifically, not just all size variants. That's probably my best piece of advice I could give you. And then, like I said, with the PMAX versus standard shopping, we are just A/B testing the campaign type, which performs better. And then we're basically going to make one redundant. We don't want to run both. That's just doesn't make much sense there. But we want to basically see which is the better performer, because I always find that every single Google Ads account we've worked in, some react better to PMAX, some react better to standard shopping. Even if they are just running in the US and they have a website to the US and the UK, they might have better performance on standard shopping in the UK, but better performance on PMAX in the US. It's just the way it works. And me as a marketer, I can't have my opinion. PMAX is bad or standard shopping is great. I am always going to base my decisions off data. I'm not going to base it on my opinion. And that's where some marketers I feel fail, because they just have one favor over the other, which is just blows my mind, the fact I have that mindset. But then moving into the bottom of funnel, we have 3 campaign types. So we have 1, which is our product search. Number 2 is brand. Number 3 is competitor campaign. And number 4 is a dynamic display remarketing. So with product search, we are targeting high intent keywords directly related to our products. So this is something like lion's mane powder or best lion's mane supplements. Okay, you want to do your keyword research and make sure you're covering all of these search term phrases that people are using to find your product. And that's where we're going to compile those into there. And then brand. So we run a brand campaign because supplements brands love to bid on their competitor brand names. So we need to protect our brand name in the search engine result page. So that's what we're doing here with this brand campaign. We're not really using it to convert. So we optimize the bidding strategy for target impression share, absolute top 100%, and put a map CPC on there, whatever is respectable from what you've been seeing your average CPC to be. But that's what we're doing now. We're just protecting our brand. And then number 3 is our competitor campaign. As I've said, your competitors are bidding on your brand name. So we are going to do the same in return. But what I want to tell you with our competitor campaign is they are quite hit and miss. We often test it for a month and see how it performs, because sometimes they work really well and sometimes they don't work at all. So it's always one worth testing and letting the data decide, not your opinion. And then finally is our dynamic remarketing display campaign. What makes it dynamic is the fact we can connect our Google Merchant Center to this campaign. So we can show the users the exact product page and then we can show the exact Google product listing as a result of that. One thing to premise with this, the majority of the time you won't be allowed to use remarketing with supplements brands. You'll probably seen this. So your account is currently not available to use customer match. And that is because of the nature of your business and Google's advertising policy. You really have to tiptoe around supplements brands with Google ads and Meta ads. So typically, if you're early stages, you will have a customer match list. If you're well established, spending a huge amount of money, then you won't, most likely. If you do, my God, well done. But the majority of the larger companies we worked with aren't eligible for these, which make it a lot harder, which is why we use UTM campaign tracking, offline optimizations, and so on and so forth. But overall, guys, that was it for me for this video. I hope that helped. It was quite detailed. I revealed a lot of secrets there, if I'm honest. But if you're a supplements brand and you would like us to do this for you, we've done this, as I said, for 4 supplements brands so far, and we've been successful with every one of them. Then please go to the link in the description. There's a few case studies. Here's Dr. Vegan case study. So we've got Dr. Vegan, we've got Longevity Botanicals who are specific, a few more on the way. But if you want to, book a discovery call. We can talk about your supplements brands, where you are now, where you want to be. We can put a plan together and to work together. So thank you for this one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.